I call Tim McIntyre.
Thank you, Mr Chair. And may I say how delighted I am to be able to take a call immediately after the Minister. And I do want to be able to just... I'll ignore that comment, Mr Hipkins. I want to acknowledge the fact that I doubt whether in the last, well, certainly in Mr Hipkins's lifetime, whether any minister has ever held this particular office in more difficult times. And I want to acknowledge the huge compassion, determination, focus and commitment that she is bringing to the role. And she has... Every national government, Mr Nash, takes over for a Labor government which has mucked up the economy and then has to spend the next 5 to 10 years sorting it out. And never has that been truer than at this moment. And of course, when that happens, that puts particular pressure on the Minister of Social Development. And so I return to my theme that I do want to acknowledge the Minister for the huge job that she is doing in incredibly difficult times. And as a member of the Social Services Select Committee, I'm very proud to be able to stand up and just focus for a moment during this discussion of the financial reviews of this particular government department, which some people listening to this debate may not appreciate is actually the largest government department in New Zealand and has huge responsibilities which particularly come under pressure at a time of global economic crisis of the type that we're suffering at the moment. It's worth noting that their responsibilities include employment and income support services, New Zealand superannuation, a huge area of government expenditure and commitment, the provision of student loans and allowances, the care and protection of at-risk children and young people, which the Minister has just alluded to, youth justice, adoption services, New Zealand's international welfare portability arrangements, the coordination of social support services and the funding of community service providers. Actually, an overwhelming workload. So there's plenty to talk about in this discussion and plenty of great work, it has to be said, that is being done right now in a host of challenging areas. And that's why I have to say I was really disappointed to hear the Deputy Leader of the Opposition in her reference to the comments that the Minister of Finance made after our election in 2008, when he made a comment about the uncertainty of the current economic outlook, in questioning our determination to make this an area of priority. Because, Mr Chair, I don't think that any impartial, reasonable observer would say other than that we have made this a huge area of priority. There have been a number of really important initiatives led by this excellent Minister and I think by a government that's absolutely determined on trying to ensure... I'm happy to name job ops. I'm happy to name the Community Max scheme. Mr Jones, absolute nonsense, and you know that they're not. There are a whole range of initiatives. I don't question for a moment the fact that these are always important areas for a government, but the really significant thing is that under this Minister and this government, they have been thrown so sharply into focus and have received such determined and coordinated application. And as the Minister, Hekia Parata, is kindly mentioning, is showing that we have the real determination to make some difference to them. Mr Chair, there is no question that we are living in incredibly difficult times. No one disputes the fact that unemployment has risen in recent times. Of course it has in this country, as it has around the world. What is really important, of course, is what are we doing about it? And I'm pleased to say that under the leadership of this Minister and under the leadership of the department that she is the head of, we are seeing a really determined focus on reducing unemployment. And even though we are living through some of the most difficult times of all, there is a clear focus on reducing unemployment and evidence that the policy is working. There is a clear focus on getting people off welfare dependency and very definite evidence that it's working. And it isn't because, as the Labor Party would like to suggest, we are either hard-hearted or insensitive to the needs of people. Quite the opposite. It is because we are determined to help people out of that trap of welfare dependency. It is because we are never going on this side of the House to say, that's good enough for you. We are always determined to say to the very hardest hit in an economic recession, there's better hope. We are ambitious for you. You can be aspirational, and we'll put in place measures to assist you to get there. And, Mr Chair, I'm pleased to say that there's a whole host of measures that are there that are achieving just that. Now, unfortunately, as we've seen, and I do want to acknowledge the huge suffering that Cantabrians have suffered, the Christchurch earthquake has further knocked us back in recent times. But nevertheless, Mr Jones challenged me a minute ago to name some schemes, and I mentioned Job Ops and Community Max. Let me also mention Future Focus. We have got to focus on those particularly long-term recipients of unemployment benefits and say, we're going to get you off the scheme. And
Well, the member's time has expired.
I'm so sorry, I could have gone on and on.
My question is that the report on the Social Services Committee in the 2019 financial review of the Ministry of Social Development be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. The contrary opinion will say no. The ayes have it. I understand the next financial review that members wish to debate is the financial review of the Department of